Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our event today, which is to celebrate National Apprenticeship Week. My name is Anna Christie. I'm the Chief Executive at the Sussex Chamber. Sussex Chamber's always supported young people. I've always been very passionate about having apprentices in the office, and we are a small team. We did have 10 staff as at January last year. We've now got 17, but every year we've always had apprentices. Currently we have 2, and so I have one helping in the international trade services, and I have one helping me on the Kickstart scheme. We also have 2 past apprentices, one who's been with us 7 years, and she's now fully certified to handle export documentation, which is fantastic. She's been in our international trade team since day one. And we have another young gentleman who is now helping with the office administration. So for me, I've always been passionate about helping young people, help them develop their skills and help them find employment as well. Today's also the Sussex Chamber is acting as a gateway organisation for the latest Kickstart scheme, which actually does complement the apprenticeship scheme. So the Kickstart scheme is a fully funded programme by government aimed at supporting 16 to 24-year-olds that are on universal credit. It will help fund that person for 6 months, and after the 6 months, there are opportunities to make sure that they could go into an apprenticeship or full-time employment. So the 2 schemes do work hand in hand together. And it really is fantastic to be able to help people develop their skills, give them the training, help develop their CV, give them customer service skills, soft skills, computer skills, whatever that may be, to really help them on that journey. Before we get started, I would firstly like to introduce you to Vanessa Potter, who's the Executive Director at Sussex Council Training Providers, before we share a short video with you. So welcome to Vanessa.
Hi, thank you so much, Anna. It's really great to be here today. I'm Vanessa from the Sussex Council of Training Providers. The theme of National Apprenticeship Week is Build for Your Future. Happy National Apprenticeship Week, everyone. We'd like to talk to you today about apprenticeships and the benefits of skills training for your organisations, and we'll be giving you a short presentation later on. So thank you very much for welcoming me, and we'll go into a bit more detail then. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. I now have a short video that I would like to share with you. It's been recorded by Councillor Rupert Simmons from East Sussex County Council.
The theme for National Apprenticeship Week is Build the Future. And that is exactly how we need to think about apprenticeships as we look forwards to moving into recovery from the pandemic. Apprenticeships provide an opportunity not only for young people to gain that first step in employment, but also opportunities for existing staff to train, develop skills and contribute to improved productivity within businesses. The FE Skills White Paper, Skills for Jobs, has just been published and outlines the government proposals for an employee and system that enables individuals to develop their skills, including through apprenticeships. Part of this will be to examine how government can make it easier for smaller employers to access the opportunities that apprenticeships provide. At East Sussex County Council, we are matching our own fund resources with monies we have directly secured through the European Social Fund to launch the Transform programme, worth £600,000 over the next 2 years, with exactly this aim of helping small businesses to better access apprenticeships and to invest in skills they will need for the future. We will be working with Sussex Council of Training Providers to support SMEs to get advice on how we can improve skills and training. This funding and support for SMEs will provide a much needed boost for the work for improved skills and training in East Sussex, which is one of the key objectives in the county's economic recovery plan, and continues our collective efforts with partners and businesses to increase the number of apprenticeships in the county. I would encourage businesses across East Sussex, West Sussex and Brighton and Hove to look at how apprenticeships can provide a positive impact to support their recovery and have a crucial positive impact on communities and the local economy. The Transform team would be very happy to help you and to signpost you to local support. Thank you for listening.
Lovely, thank you very, very much. Yes, and I will share some slides in a moment as well. As I said, hello everyone, happy National Apprenticeship Week. Thank you, Anna and Chamber members, for welcoming us. Really pleased to be joined by two of my colleagues today, Mel and Francis, and I'll introduce you to them shortly, and they will go through some detail about the Transform programme and also about apprenticeships generally. As you said, the theme for National Apprenticeship Week is Build for the Future, and the aim really of us being here today and of our project, and actually of SCTP, is to help businesses to consider skills investment, but also apprenticeships as a way to build capacity, address skill shortages, and develop skills that might be needed for the future. There's lots of benefits to apprenticeships, and we'll look at those in a moment too. So over the next 20 minutes or so, we'll look at apprenticeships. We'll try to answer the questions you may have. So the benefits, why should you consider them? You know, what the employer incentives are, and how much they cost and how they work. So I'm just going to share some slides, but I just thought before we started, if that's okay, Anna, by a show of hands, I'd quite like to know in the room which organisations here have engaged with apprentices before, so who's recruited apprentices, and which organisations maybe have, you know, who has been an apprentice at some point. So if you could just maybe raise your hand just to get a feel in the room. Do we have any ex-apprentices? Oh yeah, I see a couple. And anyone who have anyone currently working with apprentices? Great, lovely. So we've got some advocates there. So a little bit of homework for the advocates there who've engaged or been. If you wouldn't mind, just in the chat box over the next few minutes while we're speaking, maybe thinking of one of the best things about the apprenticeship scheme, something that's really impressed you or you feel has been of value that I can share with the others in the group when we come back together after the presentation. So if you wouldn't mind just doing that, a little bit of homework while we're going through the slides, I'd be really grateful. Okay, so I'm just going to share some slides with you now. Let's have a look. Lovely. I've named this slide deck this one, so my computer can't give me the wrong one. Lovely. Excellent. Okay. So, the team here today is from the Transform project. It's a partnership with East Sussex County Council, part funded by the European Social Fund. Today, we'll talk about apprenticeships in general terms. So those colleagues from Hove and West Sussex, this is for you as well. But just to give you a bit of context of who we are in terms of our team. So here we are, that's myself and my colleagues Mel and Francis, and our roles really are to support SMEs within the county, and SCTP more broadly works across the patch with providers as well. So looking at SCTP, just thought it'd be nice for you to kind of learn a bit more about us and who we are. We're the training provider and skills network for Sussex. We've currently got 90 members, so very much like the Chamber, we're a membership organisation, but we focus on the skills sector. So we have FE colleges, independent training providers, universities, local authorities, to name but a few kind of membership types. We work with awarding organisations and other stakeholders. Our aim, really, our mission is to make Sussex a better place for learning. And we support businesses and providers through their skills offer to address current and future skills gap through the available funding provision offer. The Transform programme, for those colleagues that are in East Sussex, just to say it's fully funded provision, impartial information and support for businesses to look at where there might be skills needs within their organisations and helping them to access training to meet those. Key sectors we're looking at: construction, digital, health and social care, land-based, logistics and visitor economy. There's another element to the project, and again, actually relevant to all our colleagues here, is levy transfer availability. So we'll share our contact details at the end, and we'd encourage anyone here today to contact us if they'd like support accessing local opportunities. As I mentioned, Transform is part funded by the European Social Fund and a partnership with East Sussex County Council and SCTP. So just starting, looking at the benefits for your business, why engage with the scheme? A lot of research has been done and conversations had with employers about why it's important to future-proof your workforce and look at succession planning and bring new talent in. And here we see 86% of organisations said that apprenticeships can help support skills development, building really relevant skills to the organisation. 78% of employers explain that apprenticeships can improve productivity, and 74% talk about quality investment. And beyond that, I mean, you'll be familiar with some of these in terms of the value of wider skills investment. But, when you engage with bespoke training, you can adapt training according to the needs of your business. Apprentices tend to be motivated to learn new skills. They're in it to learn. For them, it's work with training. It's being paid, earn while you learn. So you get kind of that ambition and that drive, and it can help in a cost-effective way if it's a new apprentice coming in to expand and upskill your workforce. So apprenticeships aren't just for new recruits. Actually, you can apply apprenticeships to your existing workforce and just support kind of adding to the skills areas that you want to kind of develop. So I am going to hand over to my colleague Mel, who is going to talk through government incentives with you. Over to you, Mel.
Thanks, Vanessa. Okay, I'm just going to talk a bit about the government incentives. There's quite a few at the moment. A lot of the standards, as they're called, the apprenticeship programs, they range in funding terms from about 2,500 right up to 27,000, which are kind of for degree level 7 apprenticeships. So therefore, it does cost a lot of money to train someone. So the government has recognised this, particularly for SMEs, but also the work and the support is needed to take on 16 to 18 and younger apprentices. So at the moment, there is businesses can claim up to £1,000 for taking on an apprentice who is aged 16 to 18, or an apprentice under 25 years old who has a education, health and care plan. That is a plan that anybody who's considered to be a looked after child will have. Employers hiring between 1st of August 2020 and the 31st of March 2021, so you need to be quick, can claim an extra financial incentive up until the 30th of April 2021. So those apprentices need to actually start on the programme for you to be eligible to claim. So what you can claim is For 16 to 24-year-olds, you can receive up to £2,000, and anyone apprentice 25 and over, it's £1,500. And they are incentives for you to actually keep as an employer to support. So that can be used for things like PPE. It can go to the cost of paying for the apprentice. It could be buying equipment for the apprentice, etc. Okay. You can find out more about the financial incentives on the link there. We'll email the presentation afterwards. Yeah. Who are apprenticeships? What are apprenticeships? What is them? And who are they for? Okay, an apprenticeship is a genuine paid job with an accompanying assessment and skills development program. I don't know whether you're aware, but apprenticeships have changed. They were changed in 2017 under government reforms, and all the new standards were developed by employers getting round the table. So there's about 500 to, well, they're being approved all the time, but they're actually 500 approved standards at this moment in time. And they all have a range of skills, knowledge and behaviours. So that's what the apprentice will learn when they're on programme, okay? They combine working and studying and gaining skills and the knowledge specific to the jobs. And when you are, we can support you with brokering with apprenticeship with a provider, and the provider can talk to you about actually tailoring it to meet your specific needs. They're a mix of learning in the workplace, formal off-the-job training, I won't go into that now, and the opportunity to practice new skills in a real work environment. Employers work with training providers of their choice to deliver the training programme and agree a total price for the cost, or they negotiate the cost for the training and assessment. All standards will have a part of it will be an endpoint assessment. I'll just hand over to Frances, my colleague Frances now.
Thank you, Mel. So the apprenticeship itself, there is a minimum duration of 12 months, and for the higher level apprenticeships that will be longer as well. One of the sort of like the misconceptions of apprenticeships, they are open to anyone, any age, and that's over 16. There was recently a report in the newspaper of a 76-year-old starting an apprenticeship for Govia. And I think it's interesting, sort of like, you know, for people to recognise that they are for all ages. And that both applies to new employees where you're looking to build your business and grow your staffing base for the future, but also for existing employees as well. So it may be that you've got an existing employee who you want to train up and develop into a new position within the business. And a great way for them to do that is through the apprenticeship scheme as well. They must be paid at least the minimum apprenticeship wage, and that will be going up again in April. And there'll be information about that on our website, SCTP's website, and 30 hours a week minimum as well. So there is some stipulation there for the employment, and also the conditions of employment, they need to be the same. So they are an employee, and they need to be, the conditions need to be the same as a similar grade within your organisation. Now they're available from level 2 upwards to a degree level, which is level 7. So in sort of like terms we understand probably better, that's GCSE for those that have done GCSEs, or maybe CSEs level 1 if you're as old as I am. So equivalent level 2 through to level 7, and that will have an impact there on the duration and obviously the cost as well, if there is a cost applied. English and maths is included in every apprenticeship as necessary. So again, depending on the person that you bring into the apprenticeship, they may have to complete English and maths. Thank you. So the bit that everybody is waiting for is, how much does it cost? So employer contributions, employers will be asked to pay 5% of the cost of training, which that in real terms equates to 250, from 250 to £3,000 at the top end. So that's more likely to be, again, your degree apprenticeship or a highly technical apprenticeship where there is an awful lot more training, high-end training involved. So, the average apprenticeship is towards the bottom and the lower end. They're free, that lovely word free for SMEs with fewer than 50 employees who employ, as Mel talked about earlier, apprentices who are aged 16 to 18 or aged 19 to 24 with an education, health and care plan in place. So again, the government are really trying to incentivise businesses to take on people who may, struggle to get into employment otherwise, particularly at the moment. Funding for an apprenticeship through the levy transfer. So this is a great opportunity for SMEs to receive transferred funds. And they will be from larger organisations who have a pay bill of over 3 million. And currently there's only 2% of employers that actually pay that levy. So it's a levy, a tax that goes to the government, sits with the Treasury, and then the large employers will draw it down to pay for their apprenticeships. But if they don't spend the money, it will go straight back to the Treasury. So what we're trying to do, and what East Sussex County Council in particular, with regards to the Transform project, are trying to do, is to make sure that money stays here in this locality to support yourselves and other local businesses in East Sussex. So that's great. We think that's great. So free for SMEs, apprenticeships who receive transfer funds, and levy payers can transfer, so the large organisations can transfer up to 25% of their unspent levy funds to SMEs. So there are some terms and conditions around that for those to receive transfer funds. Again, all of that information is on our website as well for you to take a look at. Thank you, and over back to you, Vanessa, in the studio.
Great, thank you so much, Mel and Francis. Absolutely. So we've looked at what an apprenticeship is. We've looked at the benefits to your business. We've looked at incentives that are available through the government. A reminder of the deadline on those being end of March, with a window to claim until the end of April. We've looked at how much they cost. So between around 250 all the way up to 3,000, but just to reiterate, that is the high end, and the average is much towards the lower end. And we looked at levy transfer opportunities. So across the county, East Sussex, West Sussex and Brighton and Hove, there are regular windows where organisations allow businesses to put in applications for levy transfer. So in a nutshell, that's apprenticeships. And that's Transform as well. So our contact details are here now. We'd encourage anyone to contact us if they want any information or further support around apprenticeships. As I mentioned at the beginning, SCTP is the Sussex Council Training Providers, and we support businesses and providers across the county with their skills needs, so please don't hesitate. And we've been working really closely with Anna over the last year, and a great supporter of their Kickstart work as well. So yeah, it's really great to be having that that skills conversation and to be able to talk to you about the benefits really in terms of the learners, our communities, but also the economy in terms of the impact that apprenticeships can have. So I'm just going to stop share now. That's okay. Just allow me to go back to the main screen. And I have a couple of comments in the chat. So if that's okay, Anna, I'm just going to share some lovely stories about why apprenticeships are. Great. Bear with me. Okay. So our new apprentice is already providing brilliant admin and marketing support to our team, and also provides the team as well as myself with development opportunities to line manage and train him on the many systems and processes within ESCC. He's only been with us since Christmas, but he is already so quick to pick things up and run with them. That's lovely. And he's actually one of our 60-second video apprentices, part of the social media campaign that's happening. So I know the apprentice in question there. That's fantastic. We've had 5 apprentices over the years and found them to be very useful to the businesses very quickly. Also, having some younger members in the team has helped with bringing in some new ideas to the older ones. They learn fast and generally are keen to help. Sounds brilliant, just what I need. Excellent. We've been able to recruit and train 2 administrators through the apprenticeship scheme. They are able to work and earn a wage whilst achieving a qualification, but we were able to customise the training so that they were productive whilst undertaking the training. Both have remained with us after the apprenticeship, continuing to be productive members of the team. And on that point, actually, 90% of apprentices stay in the business after their apprenticeship has ended, which shows, you know, what the value that those people have. And just finally, we support employers large and small to expand their business and upskill their workforce. Okay, so just one more, and then some comments from providers. So we've got Jane there and Maria in the comments. Thank you very much. We're going to get in touch. And then, okay, just looking for some apprenticeship stories. Lovely, that's it. So lovely to have those good news stories direct. And I think that takes me back to you, Anna, because a nice segue onto the next item.
Thank you very much, Vanessa. So I'm just picking up some more of the comments before I open it up later on to Q&A. Just to say that I know that there's levy funding from the big employers that has gone to East Sussex County Council, but also equally to West Sussex. So there are opportunities to pick up and access some of that levy funding that exists. Also with regards to Kickstart and apprenticeships. So with an apprentice, you can go through an apprentice provider. You don't go through the job centre. It will be through an apprenticeship provider that can help match those skills that you need. The beauty with Kickstart as well is that you've got that funding from government for a 6-month job placement, which is aimed at a 16 to 24-year-old, and the government will pay 25 hours a week minimum wage, including national insurance and pension contributions. Hopefully we'll start to see some of these job placements materialise, because I know that there's been some very lengthy delays with DWP. But once they materialise and the person's in their 6-month placement, then that can convert into an apprenticeship. And this is where we can put you in touch with apprenticeship providers across the county. And then you can look at additional funding, whether it's through levy funding that's coming through the councils and other funding that's available for apprenticeships. I think somebody was also asking if there's a similar scheme in Hampshire, because they're based in Portsmouth. So hopefully there's an equivalent. I can see a few people nodding their heads. So there's an equivalent there in Hampshire. And so we'll come back to some of the details and the logistics of how this all works and pick up some questions. But what I would like to do is now hand over to Scott Monk, who's the Managing Director of GM Monk Limited. They're an electrical, fire and security contractors based in Eastbourne, and they've got over 40 years of experience in the construction industry and offer commercial, industrial and domestic services. They've taken on an apprentice. So I'd like to now ask Scott to really just give an overview of why they take on apprentices and the benefits that it's brought to the business.
Thank you for that. So yeah, as said, we've been taking on apprentices now for maybe 30 years, and they are a key to our bloodline of bringing new engineers in through our business. Before I get to really what it is about our business and myself with apprenticeships, if you are asking your question and you're sitting whether should I take one on or not, I think you should ask yourself some really key questions. First, is how did you get qualified? You know, what chance did you get to get a qualification to get you on that ladder? The second thing is, from a business point of view, is that what is your most important resource in that business? What is going to give you the ability to grow your business in the future? And most of the time, that is your personnel, your people. And time, costs, all your time involved are all key elements with growth. Now, I think an apprenticeship, which is low cost, can bring in such good benefits, really allows a business to help train up somebody over a course of different years, different courses, and then bring them into that business to continue to help that business to grow. And as I said, from our business now, we very rarely will advertise for an electrician. And the reason I do that is because the last couple of years, the quality of the electricians I'm getting is so poor that, in fact, I'd prefer to train one from an apprenticeship for 4 years and bring them into the business and train them. And I think that's the real key. If you're unsure, just ask yourself, you know, where do you want your business to go? And do you want it to continue to grow slowly? And really, most of the answers are going to be yes. And that's really where an apprenticeship will get you there. The reason why that motivates me as a person is because I do come from a teaching background originally. So I always have a soft spot for obviously training. But our business is built on apprentices. We have directors, we have contracts managers, we have senior electricians. They've all come through our apprenticeship. Some will leave and some come back. But they all, if you invest in a lot of time and effort with somebody when they're young, you know, they will stay with you and you get your awards from them. And as someone said in the comments, the keenness of an apprentice, the life in the business, they bring life in. They might be younger than most of the other office staff possibly, and you know, it does bring in something different into your business. I suppose one of the big key factors people worry about if they haven't done this before is what happens if my work dries up. The thing with an apprentice, if you're going to take one on, you do get a lot of financial backing. They aren't the most expensive of going to be your employees that you're going to employ. And if you have to have breaks, or if you have to, you know, there's a lot of resources out there and your training providers can help you. If you had to scale back and maybe move that apprentice to a different employer, you know, because it wasn't working, and that is always the risk, but that's always the risk of taking on a new employee, is that if work dries up, you have to make those difficult decisions, and that's what business is about. And unfortunately, apprentices, you have to think of them in the same light, but they are a cheaper way of training somebody up to be in your business for the future. So just be confident. If you're thinking about taking one, you probably already answered your questions already, and you should have taken that step. And with the people on this call today, there's plenty of opportunities to get the support there. Sometimes people go, it's too complicated, the process. Yes, it probably is. We've done it for many years, so the process just flows. But when I listen to the acronyms, the different schemes, the initiatives, I'm confused, and I've been doing this for a while, so I can totally imagine what other people are. Don't get all hecked up on those. Talk to someone like Vanessa. She'll put you in touch with the right people, and they will hold your hand through it. And once you've done one, and in the years to come, if you take them all, you'll get more confident with it. But I can guarantee that if you're thinking about it, you should have done it. And if you haven't, do it, because you won't regret taking on apprentice. It is our best way of recruiting new labour into our field of expertise now. And if you do get some bad ones, of course you do, but probably 98% of our apprentices have been very good, and they've either stayed or they've gone off somewhere. You know, sometimes they go and work in London. That is always a risk, but that's the same risk as employees. So don't worry about that too much. They really can do much more than just be a tick in a box and some funding. They really will help your business to develop. And I think after this, now we're going to go on to our apprentices who we took on. and who's in his final year of his apprenticeship, and listen from Craig. If Craig's there.
Hello.
That's it, Craig.
Can you hear me? All right, I've got some notes. So the first thing was, why did I choose to become an apprentice? And for me, I love the idea of learning with my hands and on the tools. Even as a kid, I always struggled more with the classroom-based stuff rather than being active. So that side of it for me was brilliant. And you learn different things every day. No 2 days are the same normally. You know, one day for me, we could be doing one thing, the next day could be something completely different in a different place. So I found if I was in a different place working majority of the days are quicker and you're more enjoyable. The best things about doing an apprenticeship are you get to learn on the tools, so you learn how everything's done rather than the theory side of things all the time. Like I said, every day is different. No 2 days are the same. You learn skills that you don't get from the classroom. So the classroom may teach you something and you'll work with someone on site. For me as an electrician, the college would teach you how to bend a bit of conduit or how to do something like that, or wire up a socket or something simple. But you might learn with someone else. And if you've got multiple people, you've got lots of different teachers within within one place. So you can learn different ways of doing the same thing. And one way will let you learn better with one way than the other, for example. And you get to do something you enjoy. If you're passionate about a trade or an apprenticeship, you know, it's something you enjoy. So you don't mind going to work. You enjoy getting up in the mornings to go to work. And it's this saying of, you never work a day in your life if you love your job. And sometimes that is true. Like I love getting up in the morning to go to work most mornings. Sometimes when it's early and raining, you don't want to get up, but you got to do it. Any tips for employers? The more keen they are, the better. You want someone, I suppose, that's passionate or has an interest in what they're coming to learn. For me, I think timekeeping as an apprentice is a key. If they're late for meetings or interviews, then it shows a lot about the person. Team skills. You've got to work with a lot of different people day in, day out. And if you're not a very social or awkward person, it can be a bit difficult to work in large groups of teams or large different people day in, day out. The last point I got is, what is a typical day like as an apprentice? It varies. It's normally fun. You have days where jobs might not go to plan or things might go a little bit wrong, but you normally work with people you get on with, everyone you get on with on sites. You're always learning, so every day when you get home from work or your job, you've always felt you've learned something or you've progressed. And you learn by making mistakes as well. That's part of being an apprentice, I believe, is you make mistakes, and that's why you do an apprenticeship. So you might make something, do it wrong, and then you learn from that time of doing it wrong for next time you do it right, and then you don't make that mistake, and then you progress. So I think as an apprentice, every day is enjoyable. It's rewarding, especially coming towards the end of it now. You set yourself goals of when you join of things, and getting towards the end of it, it's almost like that journey. You see how worthy it was to do it, if that makes sense. So it's like almost like you feel quite accomplished that you managed to complete your apprenticeship to a degree, because now you have learned, and you've got a skill. For example, for me, I've got a skill for life. Or most jobs, you've always got something. Even if you don't carry on doing it for the rest of your life, it's something as growing up. You can always take it and dip into something else if you needed to. And I think that was all the points I had that I'd talk about.
Thanks, Craig, for that. Hopefully that's just giving you a bit of an insight from a business owner's perspective and the apprentice as well. Craig, you know, a fine apprentice, gives a great example of what an apprentice should do and be. And as the key thing I think there was that they do make mistakes, but they learn from them, and that's how they build. But you are building them up to work in your company in the future. That might change. Obviously, 4 years is a long time in different businesses, but you are developing somebody that you want to continue to work with. So, yeah, please, if you are unsure, quite happy for you to get more contact details and contact me if you want to talk about it anymore. But yeah, go for it. You probably know the answer already if you're wondering or deciding whether to take one on or not.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Scott, and thank you to you too, Craig. Fantastic hearing your journey and your story. Before I open it up, I just thought I'd throw in my apprentice in at the deep end. He is on this call. His name's Jay. I say my apprentice, there's two within the office. Just to give a quick overview, I don't think he's got a camera connected. I know he just tried, but he hasn't got a camera connected. Just to talk about his experience, he only joined us in December, and he's helping me with a Kickstart scheme. So Jay, are you able just to say a few words, very, very brief words about what the apprenticeship has done for you and the benefits?
Yeah, I'm an apprentice. I joined early December, and I'm working on the Kickstart scheme. I really enjoy it, to be fair, because you get to learn on the job as well as doing the job. Obviously, you have to balance the education through the company and doing the actual work. So I have to designate times where I do my my coursework. So that can be quite challenging. But apart from that, I do enjoy it. It's a good experience, and yeah, I would highly recommend. I would highly recommend it.
Thank you so much, Jay.
Go back to my other computer.
Thank you. So just to pick up on a few things there that Jay just mentioned, and then we can open it up to any questions. It is important that businesses are aware that the apprentice will be allocated a mentor from the apprenticeship provider, and that the business allocates that time so that the apprentice is given time to work through their studies, and that they're supported to be able to do that. So they're given time within the day or within the week. And their mentors will catch up with them on a regular basis as well. And the apprenticeships are not just for young people. It was mentioned earlier as well, it's for any age. Anyone can do an apprenticeship. And that's some of the differences between this and like the Kickstart scheme, which is aimed at a specific age group. And it's really important in terms of the training, the skills, and the development that you can provide. And that the chamber can help. We have many training providers, we have colleges that we work with, and universities that are all there to support and have different training provision that can really help support that person that's going through that apprenticeship in terms of their skills development. So age is not a barrier. Please give them time as well to make sure that they are doing their studies and their work. I'm going to open it up to questions now. So please, if you can use the raise hand function, I'd like to see if anyone's got any questions. Any questions at all? Let me just have a look. Anyone at all? Simon.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that was very, very informative and persuasive and helpful. So thank you to everyone. How do we find them, and how much should we pay them? I know there's a minimum, but we're much more inclined to be generous, but I'd appreciate some sort of guideline. We're in a similar industry to Scott, just we're mechanical and electrical engineers.
Would you like me?
Oh, sorry. Oh, go on then, Scott. Yeah.
So would you like me to just answer that one from a? Yes, so Simon. We don't pay the apprentice rate. It is poor, to be honest. And you pay for what you get at the end of the day, I believe. So we pay sort of minimum wage, and then that goes up as they get older or as they complete different years, and we kind of match it in. It is always it is a lower grade at the beginning, and then it starts to build up. And obviously, the bigger jump will come once they qualify and become an electrician. Where do you find them? There, if you're based in, JTL will be your best bet for an electrical apprentice. They do all the training in here. I'd probably overstepping my mark because I know there'll probably be other providers on this call, so I'm sure somebody can get in touch with Simon. We do all our training through JTL, and they literally take it off our hands and deal with a lot of the paperwork for us, and then the local college will deliver the 1 day a week technical side. 4 days a week roughly will be out on site.
That's brilliant, thank you.
Thank you for that. I know we've had a question come in, so I'm going to hand that over to Vanessa. It's about the role of the apprenticeship provider.
Great, thank you. And I've just put a link in the chat to the pay conditions for an apprentice. So they have the same rights as any other employee. There are slight changes in terms of the minimum wage for an apprentice. So if you click on that link, it's all there. And as Scott said, you set the wage that you think is fair, and depending on the age of the apprentice and maybe to some degree the calibre of apprentice too, there are things to consider when you're putting that in place. But your provider will help you agree that and decide that. So the role of the provider. So and actually this goes to your second question actually around how do you find the apprentice. So when you select your training provider. And the Transform service is impartial in terms of that brokerage. They will help you look at your job role and job description. They'll help you agree the standard you want to deliver, so the type of apprenticeship qualification. There are about 700 different apprenticeships you can choose. So if you are already able to describe what the role will be, they'll be able to find the most suitable standard that helps that will give them the skills that you're looking for. That's particularly key for engineering and construction trades, really, where there could be some really technical elements that you're looking for. They'll support the learner and the employer through the process. So we heard about mentor earlier, but they'll meet regularly with the apprentice and the employer to make sure everything is going well, and to help problem solve if there are any issues coming up. They'll provide the training. So depending on who you choose to be your provider, you'll have potentially a block release. They might do a week, a term, or a half term somewhere. They might do a day a week. They might do 2 hours a day. It might be distance learning. It might be classroom learning. There are a whole host of different models that you can talk to your providers about and select the one that works for you, really. And they'll support the learner to achieve. So when it comes to the end of the apprenticeship, they'll need to do an endpoint assessment. So they'll prepare that learner to pass their gateway exams. Really, they're there to kind of make the process really simple for you and straightforward. The funding and incentive side of it, they'll help you with the applications. A lot of that will be invisible to you. You'll benefit, and they'll do that behind the scenes for you. And also in terms of recruitment, they'll help recruit the learner as well. So yeah, that's why it's really important to select a provider that you're really comfortable with and you'd like to work with, and because you'll be working closely together for 2 to 3 years. So yeah, they do a lot of the hard work behind the scenes, and they should make the process as simple and as smooth as possible from start to finish.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thanks for explaining that. I have a raised hand from Harvey.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to ask a question kind of along the same lines. So we are a small company that manufactures medical equipment, but also is kind of a distributor of other suppliers. So we're very broad in our scope. So I wanted to know sort of what kinds of roles you could look for an apprentice in. Would it have to be something extremely specific, like you would hire somebody that would be an electrician to look at the or electrical engineer, or could you get somebody that would be able to be versatile and work in an office environment and work helping out in packing? Because I'm doing that at the moment, even though most of my job is business development. So yeah,
I mean, I can answer that, and Vanessa can come and add to it as well. The apprentices we've had at the chamber have all of them have all started in office administration and helped on different projects. Whenever there's been a project, they've been helping in another department and everything. As long as you've got a role for them and they are still developing their skills. And some of them have gone into different departments, as I mentioned, international trade, for example, they went into that department afterwards. So for us, it's very, very much being able to handle lots of different projects and work in different areas, whether it's the training, international trade, membership, whatever that may be. Vanessa, I didn't know if you had anything else that you wanted to add.
Absolutely. What she said, no. No, yeah, I mean, it's really flexible. So actually in the chat, I've just put a link to the Institute for Apprenticeships website where you'll see a whole range of qualifications you can choose from. I think the key thing is that the pathway you choose, the role itself enables the apprentice to demonstrate the skills needed for that single pathway, but that doesn't mean they can't do loads of different things. So for example, a marketing apprentice could actually be doing a lot of admin and administration as well, and customer service and sales, and or for example, I was talking to an IT company about an IT sales apprenticeship, and they will also be doing customer service. It is flexible, and as long as there's enough that helps them meet that qualification standard for the selected pathway, then you can add diversity in, and your provider will help you just to check the job description. Will kind of tick those boxes in terms of that pathway. And yeah, in the link you'll see the range of qualifications.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you.
I think it's also worth noting, and it was mentioned earlier, that there are degree apprenticeships out there as well. So someone can do a degree apprenticeship. And I just know that from experience as well, because my son, he's 19, he's doing a degree apprenticeship. And so he's supported by his employer, and then he does a week's university studies. Okay, it's all online at the moment, but every 6 weeks. And he does just the university studies, and then he's back in his workplace and everything. So there are higher level apprenticeship opportunities, and you can do that even through work if somebody wanted to go through a degree apprenticeship in the workplace. Yeah. Justine, thank you for all of those links and everything in the chat. That's really, really useful. I just want to see if there are any more questions. We've probably got an opportunity to take maybe 1 or 2 more questions, if there is anyone. Any final questions? We've got lots of people in the room that can really help businesses in terms of taking those steps and making sure that we can help develop people's skills. It's really about developing those skills. I've got some more. Okay. There's just some really useful links in there. So what we will do is we will share the presentation. I'll share the video as well. Unfortunately, that didn't work, so my apologies. And we'll share the presentation from Vanessa, as well as all of the chat. So you have all of those links, but you can save the chat if you want to. We will make sure everybody can access this. So at the bottom of the chat function, there's 3 little buttons. Click more, you can save the chat that way. And then you've got access to all of those links that have been shared on there. I can't see any other raised hands at all. I didn't know if you had any final words that you wanted to say, Vanessa, at all.
Thank you. Yeah, just it's brilliant to see so many people here today. Thank you for joining us. Our contact details will be shared, so please don't hesitate to get in touch if you've got any questions about how big, no small, just, really happy to chat. We're really passionate about skills and supporting, the apprenticeship scheme and other skills programs, because, from the learners to the communities to the employers to the economy, there's so many benefits. That's any little bit that we can do to help, that's what we're here for. So yeah, thank you, and thanks so much, Anna, for organising today as well. It's been great, and hope to hear from you and catch up again soon. Thank you.
Wonderful, it's been amazing. We will share, as Vanessa said, she's happy for her details to be shared. So what we'll do is when we send the presentation, we'll share their contact details, so that you can then contact Vanessa to find out more about apprenticeships. It's been wonderful. We've always been very passionate about helping people develop their skills within the chamber, and that's why we've always had apprentices every single year. I've been here 7 years and we've always had apprentices, and now we're passionate about helping support younger people through the Kickstart scheme. So if you do want to find out more details about that, I'll make sure that we include details about how we can support you with that, because we do we can provide you with links as well into apprenticeships and with training providers. So thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you found that fruitful and have taken something away, and we hope that you'll be able to join us again very, very soon. Thank you.
My name is Jacob Baker and I am an office administrator.
My name is Aliyah Perry and I process export documentation.
My name is Jess and I'm a junior administrator apprentice.
My name is Jay and I am an office administrative apprentice.
I was at college and I obviously wasn't really enjoying it full time, just being at college. So then one of my teachers there suggested looking into an apprenticeship. So I typed in apprenticeships online and found one here.
The fact that I get to learn on the job and get paid and get experience, get education as well, I thought that was more beneficial than university.
I didn't know what I wanted to do after I left college, didn't know what course to do at uni. So I kind of applied to all sorts of things, and I quite liked the look of Sussex Chamber, so ended up here.
I didn't really like the idea of college, like full time, and I worked during school, and I enjoyed work, so I just decided that was a way forward for me. I work with the export teams. So I do certificates of origins, EY1s, and all of stuff to do with Brexit and all of that good stuff, and college work as well, alongside that.
The general kind of admin of the office, some shredding, emailing, phone calls occasionally recently, but a lot of the training course side of things. And I'm also doing a project for the CEO, Anna, which I'm getting my teeth into, I'm quite enjoying.
Checking and processing, certifying export documentation, which is basically just to help clear goods out the country, or also for forwarding on goods. People require proof of origin and things like that.
I call up businesses about Kickstart scheme that we're doing. I send emails, queries, I take queries, and I'm a tea boy.
It's been, I think, about coming up to 9 months since I finished my apprenticeship. I finished in May 2020 during the lockdown, which was a bit weird, but yeah, I feel like I've settled into my current job role quite well.
When did I apply? I think I finished my apprenticeship probably about 6 years ago, maybe 6.5. I can't remember, but it was quite a while ago.
So I've only been doing my apprenticeship for like a month or so. And it's 15 months, the apprenticeship, but hopefully get it done by next December, hopefully.
The scheme itself is 15 months long, but I'm only a month and a half through at the moment, so quite a long way to go.
Do you think you'll pass?
I know I'll pass. Yeah, I do enjoy it, not only because of the work, but also the social interactions and the fact that I'm benefiting young people, which I thrive on.
I did enjoy my apprenticeship. Yeah, I was quite lucky because I had loads of like really nice, like good people to help me out whenever I needed it.
When I first came into it, I was terrified, which you wouldn't think now, but I was. But yeah, I think, yeah, I did enjoy it. Once I got into the swing of things, stopped being so nervous, because it's completely different to being at college. But yeah, I did enjoy it, yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I like all the people I work with and everyone here's nice, so yeah.
I would definitely recommend becoming an apprentice to other young people because it's kind of the best of both worlds. Like with uni, you are learning a lot, but you're also having to pay for it, whereas like you're getting an education, but also earning money.
Definitely. If you don't think college is for you, then definitely.
And why?
Because, well, for me, it was really good for my confidence because when I first started, I was so quiet. I didn't speak to anyone, but now I feel like I've come out my shell a little bit. So that's always good. Definitely,
because it's a good way to get your foot in the door in the world of work, especially with these unprecedented times. It will be a bit of a struggle, but yeah, apprenticeships are the best way to go, I believe.
It's the gap between college and work, and I feel like you gain more skills actually doing the job. You get paid for it as well, which is always a plus. And it's more like I feel like it boosts your self-esteem a little bit more and boosts your confidence.